Good morning, everyone. My name is Gerald Saunders, retired Sergeant Major, Marine. Retired, let's put that one in there. First, I want to say it is an honor to be here, and it's a pleasure to see our young people recognizing and supporting our veterans, especially our Vietnam veterans. So it's always a pleasure to see our young people take part in this. We want to thank everyone today for joining us for our annual Welcome Home Vietnam Veteran Ceremony. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge our elected officials, dignitaries, and city executives in attendance today. Representative for Senator Sciorda, Angelica Austin. Representative for Congressman Calvert, Elias Sanford. Representative for Assemblymember Johnson, Casey Deaver. Representative for Supervisor Washington, Rita Massey. Mayor Pro Tem Bob Carwin. Councilmember Ben Dietrich. Councilmember Dan Temple. Councilmember Dean Danius. Assistant City Manager Brian Jones. Assistant City Manager Rebecca Kramer. We additionally want to thank our sponsors, Starbucks for helping to enhance this event, as well as Paris Union High School District, and especially Paloma Valley High School for hosting us today. Yeah, go ahead and give it up. We also would like to highlight the student organizations that are here to help us welcome home our Vietnam veterans. Paloma Valley High School, NJROTC. Yeah. Paloma Valley High School, ASB. The Paloma Valley High School ASL Level 4, and the Paloma Valley High School Performing Arts. Thank you. All right, thank you all for joining us today. We gather to honor and remember the brave men and women who served during the Vietnam War. Their courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication to our country helped shape the fabric of our nation and protect the freedoms we all hold dear. For many who returned home, the welcome they received did not always reflect the gratitude they had earned. Today, we stand together to change that. We come together as a community to recognize their service, acknowledge their sacrifice, and express the appreciation that is long overdue. To all the Vietnam veterans with us today, please know that your service has not been forgotten. We are deeply grateful for your bravery and your resilience and the sacrifices you made. Your contributions are forever woven into the history of our country, and we are honored to recognize and celebrate your legacy today. Please welcome Chaplain Jeff Seville, retired U.S. Navy Commander, Chaplain Corps, to offer our words of inspiration.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to participate in this event today. Today is particularly meaningful to me because I grew up in a Navy family. My own father was deployed twice on ship, USS Princeton, LPH-5, just off the coast of Vietnam for a total of 14 months in 1964 and 65. And again, he was stationed in country for just under a year in 1969 to 70 at Cam Bay. My little sister was born 7 months after he left. He first saw her when she was only 4 months old. I remember the day that he landed at Lindbergh Field in San Diego. I was 11. We were grateful that he returned uninjured, but with stories he never fully retold. And there was no band playing or thankful throng at any parade to thank him for his service. Today, we right that wrong. For my dad, Lieutenant Richard Seville, United States Navy, for Specialist 4 John Baca, United States Army, and for 2.7 million other veterans, men and women who served there. It's appropriate that we remember their dutiful and faithful service in the presence of Almighty God. Will you please join me in prayer? O God of life and history, we gather this morning for sacred remembrance and a renewal of the Spirit. Today we remember with gratitude and humility the men and women who served in Vietnam, those who returned home carrying invisible burdens, and those whose lives were laid down on distant soil. We honor their courage, their endurance, and the families who bore the weight of their service. We renew our resolve to make their lives and their sacrifices meaningful by remembering them and by exercising the freedoms they defended, the inalienable rights granted by their Creator, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the freedom of conscience that allows us to worship you, Commander of the universe. Rather than cling to safety in the homeland, American soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen answered the call, conquered fear, and many watered the seeds of freedom with their own blood. Jesus said, "No one has greater love than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends." Today we remember those who laid down their youth, their idealism, and while some died in war, many others who did return never fully found peace even after the hostilities ended. Their sacrifices were not only for friends, but for fellow citizens they never knew and for generations yet unborn. We welcome them home and honor their service. Lord, give us courage to follow their example, to stand for what is right, yet always to seek peace. Comfort those whose grief remains tender, especially families whose loved ones are still missing or are known to have died in or after Vietnam, and in the many places where duty has called since then. We pray for the day when parents will no longer send sons and daughters to war. For the day, Lord, when your will is done on earth as surely as it is in heaven. A day of true peace and goodwill among all the peoples of the earth. Friends, if this is your prayer, then join me in closing as we all say together, Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. I just want to say, as a sergeant major and a former drill instructor, this is one of my favorite parts. Young people go ahead and bring in our nation's colors. So, ladies and gentlemen, please rise as a presentation of the colors and the playing and the singing of our national anthem. The colors will be brought in by Paloma Valley NJROTC, and the anthem will be sung by Bailey Moran. We welcome all veterans to salute the flag and all other patrons to place your right hand over your heart.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I told you, right? Professional right there. Thank you, Bailey. That was amazing. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys stand up again, please. One more time. We're going to do, because I didn't tell you to sit down. Come on now. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. You're going to face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now you can sit down. All right, learning is occurring. All right. Now I would like to welcome Councilmember Dean Dinas, I'm sorry, sir, up to the podium to provide some opening remarks, followed by Council and Mayor Pro Tem Bob Carwin. Sorry about that, sir.
After 7 years thank you. After 7 years in the Army, I've been called a lot worse by that, so that's okay. Now, this is my last year on City Council, so if you'll indulge me, I'd like to talk a little bit about how this event came to be. My third son was homeschooled, and my wife and I divided up the subjects, and I took history. It was easy to read, and I didn't have to think too hard. But we got to the section on the Vietnam War, and my first thought was, that can't be history. I was alive then. But it also gave the facts, but it didn't tell the story of the Vietnam War. The stories are the men and women that served in Vietnam. They're stories that you remember the rest of your life, the good, the bad, but also the experience you had when you came home. That was a dark period in the American life. I remember seeing those on television, the treatment and the fact that, you couldn't travel in uniform, anything like that, and it was just terrible. So with that, my 7 years in the Army, I had a chance to serve with many Vietnam veterans or those who served in Vietnam and hear their stories. And some of them were incredible. But I found that every Vietnam veteran was a remarkable and person that they deserved more than what they got. So when I had an opportunity, I got out of the Army and I made a commitment that the good Lord gave me an opportunity to do something to recognize our Vietnam veterans. I would jump on it as soon as I could. And my prayers were answered when I was elected onto the Menifee City Council, and I put forward the idea of having a Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day event. It is a federally recognized day, but I had not seen anyone where actually, it on paper was nice, but really there was nothing that much that we really did honor our Vietnam veterans. So thanks to our previous council members and our current council members, we were able to put this on for you, and I thank you for all you've done. I thank you for your service, and I can say is welcome home. I'd like to introduce Councilman Ben Dietrich for his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the City of Menifee, it is an honor to stand before you today at our Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans event. To the men and women who served during the Vietnam War, welcome home. Those two words carry a weight that is long overdue. For many of you, your return was not met with the gratitude and respect you earned. Today, we seek to change that, because your service, your sacrifice, and your courage deserves to be recognized, honored, and remembered. Menifee has many great veterans of many wars, including the Vietnam War. I want to take a moment to recognize one of our own here in Menifee, Ed Samuelson, up here on stage with me. Ed is a Vietnam veteran whose service and presence in our community remind us that the stories of this war are not distant history, but living legacies among us. You answered the call of duty during a difficult and divisive time in our nation's history. You served with bravery in the face of uncertainty, and you carried the burdens of war long after your service ended. We are here today not only to thank you, but to acknowledge you, to say clearly, we see you, we respect you, and we are grateful for everything you gave in service to this country. Menifee is proud to be a community that honors its veterans. Your legacy lives on, not only in history books, but in the freedoms we enjoy every day and in the generations that follow in your footsteps. To our Vietnam veterans, your service mattered then, and it matters now. Welcome home, and thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. And now I would like to introduce Dan Temple, District 3 Council Member.
The notes are a little difficult to read. They issued us a crayon at MCRD to write with, and I've never gotten used to anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, today we stand to say what should have been said so many years ago. Welcome home. To our Vietnam veterans, you answered the call of duty. You served with unwavering honor, and you gave yourselves in the name of service to your nation. Courage, honor, and service. In the words and spirit of Douglas MacArthur, those aren't just words. They are the foundation of a life lived for something greater than self, which is what you did. You endured hardship, uncertainty, and sacrifice in a war that tested both body and spirit. And when you returned home, many of you carried those burdens quietly, with the same strength and dignity that you carried them in uniform. Today we recognize what should have been, never should have been overlooked. Your duty was fulfilled with courage. Your honor remains unquestioned. And your service will never, ever be forgotten.
So on behalf of a very grateful community, the city of Menifee welcomes you home and says thank you. Thank you.
So my name is Bob Carwin. I'm the current acting mayor for the city of Menifee, and some people were asking me why I was the acting mayor, and I want to acknowledge, for those of you who don't know, Menifee City Council has 5 members. There's 4 districts and an elected mayor, and what we're missing today up here is our elected mayor. For those of you who don't know, he is a member of the United States Air Force Reserves, and his unit was stationed at March Air Reserve Base, and in October he was deployed to active duty, where he's still serving right now. We hope to have him back next month, but our thoughts go out to him, and just goes to show our dedication of the city and our city council to the service of our veterans. Turning to the matters of today, the United States learned a lot of lessons from Vietnam. Not as many as they should have, right? But some, right? First and foremost, from a strategy standpoint, when you go into foreign soil, you have to take into account how the natives will defend that foreign soil. You can't do what you do everywhere and expect the same results and not take into account the geography and the people and the history. And that lesson has really helped our modern military adapt and become more powerful and more creative and stronger and able to control situations. And that's a real dedication to those who are entering our military and serving now. Second, and I think apropos to today, you can hate the war and you can hate the politicians, but don't hate the soldiers or the sailors or the airmen or the Marines. Am I right? They are the reason. No, scratch that. You are the reason that they can't get to us. And for that, I say thank you. I was just a child, not to brag, when the last combat troops came home in 1973. But I didn't have the opportunity then to say it. But today I stand before you as the acting mayor for the city of Menifee, and I get to say it now. So on behalf of this great city and this great nation, Vietnam veterans, thank you for your service and welcome home.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Great words, and we appreciate you being here and honoring our veterans, especially our Vietnam veterans. I just want to say, as a Marine serving our country, numerous combat deployments, I want to thank our Vietnam veterans because, and my dad was a Vietnam veteran, and he said this when I went to the Gulf War in 1990. When you come home, we're going to make sure that you get the welcome home that you deserve. And I think ever since then, we've welcomed home our troops back from combat. And it's because of you sitting right here, because you didn't want us to go through what you went through. So I want to say thank you personally for still doing what you guys are doing, supporting our men and women that are wearing our nation's cloth and serving our country. So thank you very much. All right. Long before he earned our nation's highest award for valor, the Medal of Honor, that is amazing. We got a Medal of Honor winner here today, and awardee, who have already distinguished himself through extraordinary courage. He was first awarded the Silver Star for personal heroism while defending an obscure hill, one largely forgotten today, but never by those who were killed and wounded there. Before that, he received the Bronze Star with V for valor, for an act so remarkable it seems almost imaginable today. Yet it happened, and he will share that incredible story with you. He will also speak about the heroic actions that led to his Medal of Honor, and how, after sustaining a devastating wound that should have taken his life, he remained fully conscious and at peace. His Medal of Honor was not awarded months or years later, but within weeks, because his fellow soldiers wanted him alive to receive it. He did live, and today he is here with us on this meaningful day, an American treasure. Ladies and gentlemen, John Baca.
Kelly? Oh, Captain Kelly and Tristan. They're both here. Captain Kelly in Afghanistan saved her enlisted man, Ray Henniger, gave him a blood transfusion, saved his life. And Susan Jensen, Gold Star mom, lost her husband in Afghanistan. And Bill Monsoon, Mimiaga, he got me involved in being a volunteer with the Snowball Express moms and families. And this morning, we got caught in traffic coming up from San Diego, but I talked to my friend Art James. Art and I, we held hands on the medevac chopper, February 10th, 1970. You keep that connection, that bond. We were what we call, we're a mud and blood brotherhood. And I talked to Smitty today that I was coming up here to share, and I wanted to mention, we were called the Bunker Busters in Vietnam. And, you just keep that bond, don't ever lose it. And 2 months ago, my battalion surgeon visited me, Dr. John Lundquist and his wife Cindy, and Captain Kelly was there. And he kept me alive, and Art James, the Fire Base Buttons, February 10th, 1970. But John Dotson, he lay alongside me, telling me, don't close your eyes on me, John Baca, don't close. I can feel an angel holding me. I'm ready to go to heaven. I was a born-again believer in the Lord, Jesus, and I carried my Bible, different pockets when I walked point in Vietnam, and if I wasn't walking point, carried the 90 recoilless. But Christmas morning, 1969, I was walking point, and I guess along Cambodia. I snuck up on a young North Vietnamese soldier sitting on a bunker. He was talking to a couple people on the side off a trail, because we were 100 people. They could smell us, and we made a lot of noise, and they would ambush 3 or 4 men and cause all kinds of confusion. But I snuck behind some bamboo, and I got this fella's attention on the bunker, and you come here to get him to come off the bunker. And I ran down and picked him up, and I threw him over my shoulders. I watched over him so nobody would hurt him. He had pictures of his family, and I had pictures of my mom and sisters, and we just shared them, and we just cried and wondered, what the heck are we doing over here? But he let me know I was a #1 GI, and 8 years, or 1990, September and October, 8 of us went back to North Vietnam. We had a donut dolly, Red Cross worker with us. We built a Vietnamese-American friendship clinic with former North Vietnamese soldiers. Some had hands missing, feet missing, and I believe that man that I took alive was there working at the work site with us. And we had an audience with the head of the Communist Party, just thanking us for coming back and help rebuild what our B-52 bombers destroyed during the Christmas bombing. You meet some of these pilots, B-52 pilots, they have nightmares for the rest of their lives, never knowing what their bombs did to people. And we used to swim in their bomb craters out in the bush. And I don't know what to say sometimes, but and our the Soul Brothers and the Chicanos and us honkies, we were all together in life and death combat, and the squad leader, Fragman, he carried a dozen hand grenades. And he watched over us. He re-upped a year to be a big brother to us, and his motto was, "Don't calls me Jesse and don't calls me James, calls me Fragman because it earns my name fighting Whitey in the Watts riots." It would all share our packages from home, and we had another fella. He re-upped to another year named Hobo. He hopped on the freight trains all over the country. We got in country on the helicopter landing Firebase Grant, July 19th, 1969. Hobo was there to meet us. Said, "All you FNG, you friggin' new guys, forget what you learned your 16 weeks infantry training. We got 5 days to teach you how to stay alive in the Vietnam jungles." And they re-up. Some of the married Vietnamese women to stay another tour to be our big brothers. And these combat nurses, I believe every combat nurse in Vietnam should have received a Medal of Honor. They gave one to that lady in the Civil War, and the Congress tried to take it away. She was a surgeon, but she wore it every day she was a member of Congress. But they saw more death and dying under their hospital tent than us saw out in the boonies. But when we went back to, after the 6 weeks, October 1990, coming back from Hanoi, going down to Saigon, there was a bunch of American Vietnamese women with children in the audience. They don't even know who their fathers were. So many guys in the rear had relations with these women and just left them behind. But me and Art James took a year and a half. We sponsored them, and we brought Kim and her family. They're in Western Maryland, and I stayed connected with them. But mothers would hand weave belts for their soldiers to wear 24 hours a day, to always think about home. And sharing those pictures together with that young North Vietnamese soldiers, just the memories, they live inside. And and I got a hat. This is John Duty, JT. He was he spent getting healed. He was in Afghanistan, got wounded, and I spent 11 months there at Balboa Hospital, Building 26. And I had Nurse Angie, retired Navy captain. She graduated from the University of Nebraska in 1952, and every Saturday she'd become a Navy captain. I had to watch the Cornhuskers with her. And I had a standard poodle, Jojo, and would be friends with her Siamese cat, Vicky, so we were all watching the game together. But Angie, her and her nurses kept me alive, loved me, and when I was able to get out of the bed after a couple months, the nurses, Navy nurses, would take me to see the sunset in Pacific Beach, and beautiful memories. And I got it all written in my journal, so when my daughter gets out with the grandkids, when they get settled from Boston, she's a nurse, so I'll make sure I'm sick every time she visits me, but the grandkids call me G-Pa John, and they want to pull me different places to let people know who she is and I am. But they'll be here sometime from Boston when the hospitals accept her, and we'll have a good connection, and we'll get my journals together. And I just don't know what to say. But after leaving these Vietnamese up in the north, our interpreter was a professor at the University of Hanoi. He came to Washington. He wanted to teach Vietnamese studies, but the colleges in D.C. and Virginia wouldn't accept him. But he gave me these last words, and it said, when you wake up to the sound of the wind, it's the calling from your Vietnamese friend. If you waken to the sunlight, it's the eye light of the Vietnamese child. If you wake up to the raining, it's the tears of the Vietnamese worker who love you very much. If you wake up to nothing, that means the war comes to our land again. Just beautiful, beautiful memories, and reconnected with my battalion surgeon. Kelly was there. Dr. John Lundquist and his wife, Cindy, they got back they go on cruises. I met him in 2018 at the Star of India, San Diego, and then they came and visit 2 months ago, and he kept me and Art James alive at Fire Base Buttons, February 10th, 1970. He and my nurse and my lieutenant, who was removing all the burning metal from my stomach and legs, they were out. I heard they were in front of the White House when Nixon presented me the medal. The young Marine guards wouldn't have let them in, and I never knew that. They didn't ever told them. They should have been standing beside me, because they gave me, they kept me alive. But my mom was there, and my two sisters, Kathy and Judy, and what a proud moment for my mom. And shortly, she passed away at 46. I buried her up in El Camino Cemetery. And then my first Medal of Honor convention, Nixon's second inauguration, I'm back in D.C., and then I had no room. I'm crying in the hallway, thinking of Mom, and I wake up all these Spanish-American World War II Medal of Honor recipients and friends, and they said, "You're the new guy, Baca. We heard you lost your mom. You woke us all up, but you don't look like us, Baca, but we love that last name. Get over here." And they just adopted me, and sitting on the buses beside Jimmy Doolittle, and they had 6 World War I guys. I loved hanging out with them, and the World War II guys who sit behind them on the buses, not say a word, and they would just hug you, and they adopted me. And some of those guys were married 75 years, the World War II fellas, but it's changed since our new guys have come in, and it's sad, but I still stay in touch with, the guys we were wounded, and I surprise some of the people, stay in touch with some of the widows of the recipients who've passed on, and I always loved being a volunteer. Monsoon got me involved with the Snowball Express family. These kids, I know I'm carried away, these kids don't know what happened to their fathers. When I was blowed up, the stomach and the legs, the grenade blew up in my stomach and up and down the legs, but all that time I'm laying on my back, and it's like your whole life flashes before you. Everything is slow motion. And I'm laying on my back, and my insides are coming outside. I wasn't sure if my legs were there, so I moved them a little, and they were there. But I felt like an invisible angel holding me, and it was so peaceful, so loving. I love sharing those gentle, peaceful, dying moments. And I share that when I was with a volunteer with the Snowball families, the children. They don't know what happened to their dads, and I let them know what I experienced that night. I believe their dads and their moms, they had to feel the same beautiful, angelic angel's arms holding them, and I'll always believe that. And well, I think I better finish, but one question: do you all know how much it costs for a pirate to have his ears pierced? A buccaneer. Susan, I got that from one of the Snowball Express children. So I guess that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Thanks for your story, your bravery, and your sacrifice. At this time, we would like to acknowledge our Vietnam veterans in attendance. If you are a Vietnam veteran, go ahead and please stand. Thank you. Go ahead and remain standing, because if you are a family member and a spouse, go ahead and please stand. We want to thank you for your sacrifice as well. Thank you. All right. All right, go ahead and take your seat. Now at this time, please welcome Anayi Rodriguez to sing the Armed Forces Medley. We would like to honor all our service members, past and present. When you hear your branch's song, go ahead and please stand up.
Off we go into the well blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder. Atta boys, give 'em a gun. Down we dive, spreading our flame from under. All with one very loud roar, we live in fame, go down in flame. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. First to fight for our right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then there's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count all your cadence loud and strong. To farewell we'll go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day, 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 day. Through our last night on shore, anchors away. Until we meet once more, we're wishing you a happy voyage home. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through surf and storm and howling gale, high shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame, our glory too. To fight, to save, or fight and die, I Coast Guard, we are for you. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. That was amazing. All right. Please again welcome Chaplain Jeff Seville and Ed Samuelson, retired United States Air Force Master Sergeant and VFW Post 1956 member, as they present the POW MIA table.
Those who have served and those currently serving in the United States Armed Forces are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. Even as we go about our daily pleasures, we are called to remember those who have suffered and who may still be suffering profound pain, deprivation, and imprisonment. Today, we call your attention to this small table, which occupies a place of dignity and honor to prisoners of war and missing in action, whom we call comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families today, so I ask that we join together to pay our humble tributes to them and bear witness to their continued absence. This table, set for one, is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her oppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their nation's call to bear arms. The single rose in the vase signifies the blood that many have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. The rose also reminds us of the families and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while awaiting their return. The yellow ribbon on the vase represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands who demand, with unyielding determination, a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us today. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us this day. The chair is empty. They're not here. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope, which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to the open arms of a grateful nation. At this time, we ask for a moment of silence in honor of the brave veterans who are still held as prisoners of war or who remain missing in action. May their courage and sacrifice never be forgotten.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. Thank you for being here today. And as we welcome home our Vietnam veterans in attendance, today we honor their service and express our heartfelt gratitude for the sacrifices they made during the Vietnam War. Their courage, resilience, and unwavering commitment to our country will always be remembered and deeply appreciated. We would also like to thank and recognize the City of Menifee's Veterans and Military Family Advisory Committee, This committee was established to promote public service and community involvement with, for, and by veterans and military families. We would like to thank our committee members for their continued dedication, for volunteering to serve, and for being with us here today. The committee meets every month on the third Monday at 3 p.m. at City Hall Council Chambers, and residents are encouraged to attend. We would also like to welcome everyone to visit the resource booths and displays outside. And we're going to take our annual Vietnam Veterans group photo right underneath the Welcome Home banner. So go ahead and please, when we're done, make your way out there. And I want to see everyone there so we can memorialize this and get a good photo. Again, thank you all for being here. And thank you for attending and recognizing our Vietnam veterans. Thank you very much. This concludes our program. Thank you.